Hello and welcome back, roomies. We've got another episode of the Engine Room podcast with me, John. We've also got Pablo and BUGA. Of course, we're going to be talking about some Champions League results. Madrid with a big 5-goal thriller over Liverpool. We'll talk about Barcelona slipping up in Europa League and La Liga. We'll switch over back to Champions League to talk about Chelsea and their free fall in the English Premier League. We'll see if Pablo actually sheds some tears by the end of this episode. We'll talk about an El Clasico preview, and we'll talk about FIFA's The Best Awards. We're going to cram all that into today's episode. But before that, let's say hello to the boys. BUGA, how we doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Just like always.
Absolutely. Love the positive energy to get us started. Pablo, how are you doing, my friend?
Have I returned? Like, what happened there?
There we go. Okay, now we're good.
Am I good?
You're good. Say hello.
No, was I meant to be introducing myself? Sorry, I couldn't hear you guys for a minute there. Everything just glitched out. But
I set you up. It was like the perfect intro. It was very flattering. I'm sorry you missed it. But yeah, go ahead and say hello to the roomies.
Okay, well, I'll follow it up anyway. Whatever was said. Hello, everyone. Good to be back, and yeah, good as always to be with BUGA and John.
Absolutely. Before we get into today's agenda, BUGA, you have a twisted take for us.
Pablo doesn't know. I wanted to ask the age-old question. Who was the best signing this season? And my answer is Casemiro.
Oh. So your twisted take is Casemiro is the best signing of the season?
Yes, sir. Yes, Uncle Johnny. Why do I say this? Because I feel that when I started looking at different signings, you take a look at Erling Haaland, for instance.
Yeah.
You see the impact of the teams where they were last season and this season. And I feel that just the signing of Casemiro is the sort of missing piece that has elevated United from a good team to being competitive. You can also attribute that to Ten Hag, but it's like when Casemiro even started, he wasn't that favored by Ten Hag. But he just earned his space back into it. He's just such a crucial player. I think people in the Premier League people underestimate how good Casemiro was just because he was playing La Liga or whatnot. There was this crazy, who was it? It was Souness who said like Casemiro hasn't won anything or hasn't done anything. He just won the Champions League because he had Modric and Kroos next to him. No, Casemiro is a proper DM, the best defensive midfielder, just in terms of like proper defending in the world, in my opinion. He doesn't have any role of progressive player or whatnot, but even in United, we've seen extra aspects to his game. For me, he's the best signing this season because he has taken United that extra level, and other signings just simply have not done that. I'm eager to hear, perhaps, do you have a signing who you think can rival what Casemiro has done?
I don't know if I have a signing off the top of my head. I like what you're saying there. I mean, the defensive mid position is so overlooked in terms of its importance. Like, I'll go back and point to N'Golo Kante at Chelsea. And as he faded, so did the Blues. I'll point back to Busquets. Barcelona started to struggle as Busquets started to lose his pace throughout, going sideline to sideline. So you love the flash in the attack on these big clubs, but it's very often down to who's holding it down defensively in the midfield. So I like what you said there.
Yeah, I think it's spot on. Actually, I've just tried to have a little think about a few, and I think in terms of impact, the way he's revolutionised the team, Casemiro has been unbelievable for Manchester United. He's changed everything about the way they are, from going from a team that looked like you could get at them, that they were easy to beat, that they could slip up in matches. They don't look like that at all anymore. After they went 2-0 up in the final on Sunday, you knew they were going to win. So many times he shut it down. He did it against Barcelona. He's done it in all the big games, Man City. He's just, he is the reason, in my opinion, Manchester United are winning so many points, game after game. You've got Ten Hag, who's been unbelievable. And of course, other players have played very well, like Varane and Rashford, of course, up front. But I think Casemiro is the one. If you take him out of the team, I think Man U start to slip a bit. But he's just been so unbelievably good. He's actually been better than I thought as well, by the way. Because when he started, I thought, yeah, he'll chip in a bit. And like you say, BUGA, he was actually a bit our favourite at the start. But once he got started, he's been unbelievable for Manchester United. So good.
Yeah, we take a look at players like, Mane moved this season, Lewandowski moved this season.
Yeah, Leo has a shout, but
and I feel he's still above all of these players.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even with the goals that Lewandowski's getting, the impact that Casemiro has had at United, I think, is bigger than what Lewandowski has had at Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
Just giving United that consistency. So
Yeah,
I'm with you on that take, Buga.
Yeah. No, me too, honestly. I mean, Lewandowski is a shout I think people will bring up. I mean, I think Barca have had a few successes in the market, like Rafinha and Koundé as well, but they can't be considered the best, that's for sure.
Not with Koundé's own goals. That takes him down.
No, Koundé is deciding who he's playing for. But I mean, with Lewandowski, I think I do actually think he's had a massive impact on the Barca dressing room and what Barcelona have been about this season. Probably more than we give him credit for, and of course his goals have been brilliant. But he has dried up a bit in terms of performance. There's been a lot of games in a row now where he's done little to nothing. So Casemiro's impact has been so good for Man U, and in terms of the way it's changed the team, he's changed everything.
Yeah. Well, so that's a good transition, actually. We'll jump to Liverpool, Madrid here in just a minute, but we're kind of talking about United Barcelona anyway. So let's maybe start off with that Europa League second leg, and then we'll talk about where both clubs stand domestically. But Barcelona eliminated by Man United 2-1. What was your reaction to this? We'll start with Buga.
I thought this was one of those games I really wanted to win as a fan, because I think it would determine quite a bit of the Twitter environment. I think Barcelona could have settled this encounter in the first 45 minutes. I'm going to be honest. I think it was I was very proud. I was very proud. I was very proud of the way that Barcelona played. I feel Barcelona were organized. They didn't lose their mind. They controlled. They always talked about the first few minutes we need to suffer, but then we need to control the game. We need to be able to, stop the game from being a free-flowing match. And that's what they did. I think I thought it was, honestly, I was proud. I was like, yeah, this is the right way to go. This is right on track. This is how you need to win a game like this. You need to be able to control. This reminds you of Barcelona old, a smart, intelligent performance. And I even went out and I said, like, on Twitter or to my friends, I was like, wow, I'm proud of what I'm seeing. And then 15 minutes later, halftime, and Barcelona conceded immediately. It's like they lost that focus, and that's where I was like, it's still the same Barcelona, like mentally, still the same problem that you lose or sleep up for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you lose the game in those particular situations. And at the end of the day, it was just so difficult for Barcelona to recover from that, and United just simply had the front foot. We're going to talk about, I think, individual performances, whatnot, but for me, someone like Xavi needs to still make those decisions faster. Those substitute a little bit faster, because you need to be able to, I don't know, inject your team with a little bit of positivity. I think Sergio Roberto played well, but he didn't add anything particularly that I feel someone like a Ferran Torres couldn't. Roberto was like an extra body. He worked very hard, but apart from that, you can tell Ferran, okay, work very hard, do all that, but he never took a man on. He never tried to play that extra pass. And overall, I think that Barcelona did well with the weapons that they had at the moment. United were a top team, and this for me is just a GG, well done, well played. Like, it was honestly two teams very similar in terms of level. Barcelona were a little bit weaker in terms of personnel, and United won at the end of the day. I don't feel I don't feel there's a massive story to make from this. It was just two teams facing a head to head.
Pablo, well said, Buga. Pablo, is this a bigger deal that Barcelona lost or that Man United won?
Probably that Man United won. I got the feeling Barca were going out no matter what in this game. I kind of actually felt that when it was 1-0 at half time. I thought, we're not going to get through this game and go through it. I just knew it. Before the game as well, I felt it because of the injuries. I don't know, Barca in Europe, I think the biggest problem with Barca going out on Thursday night was the fact that, again, we've messed up the European hurdle. I think in the complexion of the season, I think it's probably one of the best things that could have happened, actually, because we've even seen today, Lewandowski's now injured. I think Rafinha and Gavi are suspended again. Dembele's still out. Pedri's injured. Barcelona are on their bare bones. They've got nothing going in attack, and I think that's what let us down, actually, in Old Trafford. Like Bulgar said, very good first-half performance, controlled the game really, really well, did everything we could, really, to keep Man U at complete bay, and they just didn't have a sniff. But you were never going to be able to keep that up for 90 minutes. And that's why New United were going through, because we were offering absolutely nothing in attack. We offered nothing in attack against Almeria. And I think Barca had to go out of the Europa League. Barca literally cannot legislate for playing round of 16, quarter-final, semi-final. With this squad, forget it. You will wave goodbye to La Liga by doing that. So, kind of had to be done in a way, actually. Barca didn't go out on purpose, and it like BUGA says, it was a good game. I don't think much needs to be made about it, but I always got the feeling Barca were going to go out, to be honest with you, even at 1-0. I just felt in Europe something about us. I just know we're going out. And it wasn't a Roma or an Anfield, but I did feel it. And ultimately United got their goals and they deservedly went through.
Yeah, it's a big ask, even to hold on to a 1-0 lead at Old Trafford with the squad that we had. I think that's a big ask. So I'm with you. I was not like gutted by this. It's always disappointing. The aftermath of the Man United trolls, of course. What I learned from this experience is how bad Barcelona hurt Manchester United in those 2 Champions League finals, because this was Manchester United's first opportunity to get a little revenge. It's 5 days later, and I still have people popping up in the chat out of nowhere with glory, glory, Man United. It's like, guys, I'm sorry we hurt you that bad. Just take your Europa League. Like Garnacho doing the Pedri glasses. He didn't play. Hot shot. Who are you? Like, what are you doing? You look like a dork. I digress. I think Manchester United supporters need to recalibrate as their club gets back to an elite status. You don't need to celebrate so hard getting past 1 round in Europa League with a half-injured Barcelona. You don't need to. You got bigger things that you can look forward to now.
Yeah.
You just got to readjust. It's been a decade, I understand, but you got to readjust. Man United's back is what I'm saying. I think they're a good club. Their supporters need to realize that a little bit. I digress. I'm not upset about it.
I think an asterisk to that is that I always heard, and particularly with both Milan and United, I heard that Barcelona were going to be the same thing. And Barcelona had that period that was just like 1 year, 6 months.
Yeah.
That United had for like 6 years.
Yeah.
That is bad, and I feel that hurts. That hurts. If I was a United fan, I would hurt, because like, how the hell we hear Barcelona doesn't have finances? Barcelona doesn't have a shit owner. They have a shit president. He's in jail. They don't have Messi. They don't have and they are able to, in 6 years, turn that, and now the kind of tendency is going upwards, very similar to United. It took United like 6 years to do that.
Yeah. I mean, this is what happens with clubs that don't win things. Though we can't forget this. Like, this is
That was such a low key bird. Yeah, that's just what happens with clubs that don't win things. It
is that, and this is always the problem. This is why people always say, when people say, "Who do you not want to win the league?" or something like that's why people, when before Liverpool won it, they said Liverpool, just because of the fans. And that's the reason. I mean, this is what happens when you're starved of trophies and anything. Like, you go mad. Man, you haven't won anything in 6 years. The last thing they won was the bloody Europa League. Before that, it was the Carabao Cup in the same season. Trophies they'll probably go on to win this season. Last time they won the league was, 2013? That's a decade ago. Since Manchester United last won a trophy before yesterday, both Liverpool and Chelsea had won the Club World Cup, the Super Cup, the Premier League, the Champions League, so the FA Cup. So, we're talking about a club that's been starved of silver, and I think that's why you see reactions like that after games like this, because they're grasping at things. Like Arsenal and Tottenham fans are experts at this. So yeah, I think you're right, John. Man, you don't need to behave like that. It gets rid of the dignity of the club, and I always hate when I see Barca fans doing it as well. I think, God, we're Barcelona. Like, some of the Twitter accounts after we beat Real Madrid, like I cover my eyes sometimes. Like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I was a bit like that when I was younger, so fair enough.
Yeah, let's not overlook that Barcelona fans can be incredibly toxic internally, right? And externally as well. Because I think Barcelona, again, it's one of those clubs that is global. And so you get a lot of folks that they're not really a part of the culture. And so like, that's their way of engaging with it. So yeah, I'll never understand human beings who take time out of their day to proactively go onto a opponent's channel, an opponent's content, the live stream, whatever it is, and troll. It doesn't make any sense. There's better ways to spend your time. Go celebrate with your supporters. You know what I'm saying? But
it's just what it makes them feel better.
I guess.
What makes them feel good,
as they say.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
But I think we should be careful as well, because Barcelona still haven't won anything in a while.
Exactly.
Well, sure.
Exactly, and that's why it almost annoys me more. Like, sometimes Like, even after it didn't happen yesterday, obviously, but usually the last few weeks, Barca have kept going up, and all these people doing like +8, and like, like they're going like mad. I'm like, calm down.
It's like win La Liga, then we talk about.
It is, and that's what I mean. Like, Barca fans can be very toxic internally, where every match is the extreme of one end or the other. Before the 90 minutes were up against Almeria, like after we gave up the goal, I'm seeing Xavi out in the chat. It's like, you guys are hilarious. Yeah, it's absolutely wild. So let's talk about that match a little bit. I'll give a take on that Almeria match. This was the worst of Barcelona. This was Coleman Ball 2.0, as I heard somebody else put. I'll steal that. It was just spamming crosses in to stagnant players. The runs weren't really there. Araujo was getting in there towards the end of the match. All right, I love Araujo. He can do no wrong in my book. But offensively, Lewandowski couldn't get involved. Not surprisingly, now we find out he's got a hurt hamstring. So I don't know at what point in the match that happened. So that could have been something. But Busquets, I think, gave the ball away more in that match than I've seen him give it away in the last 5 years. I was shocked at Busquets' performance. Just could not keep possession, could not connect on a pass. Defensively, I think it was just we went too far with the rotation. I don't think you can have Roberto, Garcia, and Alba out there together and expect Christensen to hold things down. You saw on Almeria's goal, that was purely just not understanding each other's space. Roberto should not have been so far up the pitch. Christensen arguably could have had better positioning there, but if that's Jules Koundé at right back, he's not out of position like Roberto was, and he's covering that ball in behind. Also, you could say the pass in behind, Garcia not stepping out quickly enough to close down. There was a good 10 yards of space between him and the one who passed it. So not enough creativity, not enough movement off the ball, not enough, I'll say, courage to just take players on. Like, where was the Ferran Torres that we saw against Cadiz? Is gone. Absolutely gone. So this was just, I don't mind dropping points if we play good football. But this was just, it was boring. It was dull. There was no life to it. Even Gavi was not Gavi.
Okay.
It was the worst of Barcelona.
Yeah.
I'm just watching the goal and because I didn't watch the game, so I wanted to ask your Uncle John. What a goal, dude! What a goal!
It was a ripper.
What a goal, dude! Look, I don't mind losing, but if you lose to a goal like that, it's fine. But the problem is we were talking about the reaction. So I wanted to, because I've seen a picture that somebody put up of all the crosses that Barcelona had. So did Barcelona actually had any sort of reaction to them to turn the game, or was just one of those games where it's you're toothless?
Yep.
Yeah, that was the last 20 minutes. We were just spamming crosses in. But Pablo, you go.
No, we never looked like scoring against Almeria, honestly. Not once did I think, we got them now. And I actually thought the last 2 minutes we would. I thought that, if Alba stayed on or something, I thought we'd get one good cross into Araujo or something, and we'll get at least 1-1 here. But honestly, I know Araujo had one on the back post once that he should have maybe gone for instead of heading back across the goal. But, honestly, there wasn't actually really one chance Barcelona where I thought, oh my God, we had it. We were so bad. Even the crosses were terrible. So even when we did awful football at the end, we did nothing. I think it's Barcelona's most worrying period since the Clásico defeat in October, when people were wondering, but Barca did well to steady that ship quite nicely, and obviously will beat Villarreal and Athletic Club in the next 4 days, I think, or 7 days, 3-0 and 4-0, and that kind of settled the ship very nicely indeed. And that's what Barca have got to do now, because right now the squad is looking tired, it's looking weak. It's being hit by injuries. No Lewandowski, no Dembele, no Pedri is just huge. You got Gavi and Rafinha, like I said, both suspended for the Valencia game now. Who are Barca going to play against Real Madrid up front? The midfield with the four is just I think we said a few weeks ago that we thought it would get a bit stale at some points, and it is. I knew it would. Just not enough going on, especially against a team like Almeria, just dead.
I think there are three main factors that kind of influence this. One, the injuries. Like you cannot overlook that.
Sure.
Like Pedri, Dembele, not having Gavi for certain games for the sanctions or whatever. Lewandowski now, that's huge.
Yeah.
Second, you talk about the four midfielders. I think the four midfielders. There's only one game, if I'm not wrong, one game where Barcelona managed to score more than one goal, and that was the 3-0 against. I remember who, but it was where Rafinha scored as well. Only a game where 3, and after that, all the games are 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
Yeah, and everybody scored on Sevilla.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think the problem is like that's formation, that system kind of makes you be a little bit more solid. It aids Busquets, and that's what another problem that I have. Everything for Xavi is like it has to be around aiding Busquets, which is fine, but what about if you just take Busquets out and find another way to, I don't know, enhance like Frankie de Jong or something like that, you know? That's the problem, I think, with Xavi. He's so like fixed on his fetish of Busquets. And then the other thing is the substitute. I feel that the substitutes or the rotations are going to put them together. I feel either, like you say, too many substitutes for one game, too many rested players, and then in another game like the United one or it could be the one before Almeria, even the game before United, which was against Cadiz, was like the substitutions were not as... Like Barcelona were lucky to come out of that game, honestly, before conceding a goal. The other thing, and here I wanted to ask you, how about the youngsters? Because we don't have players, right? How did Pablo Torre play and how did Ángel Alarcón play in that game against Almeria?
Pablo, you have thoughts?
I don't know what to think about Ángel, to be honest. I don't know if Ángel will do much for us really different in attack. Like I'd rather just stick with like Ansu and Rafinha and even Ferran probably ahead of Ángel. Pablo Torre though, I think has got quality. I think he's got quality from set pieces. He's a good crosser of the ball. He's a technician. He can shoot from outside the box. I think he's an option. We're low on midfielders now. Even just to bring on the last 20 minutes, I'd use him a bit more. I'm not ruling out Ángel. You know, the poor bloke is like, he's younger than me, I reckon. And, you know, he's not, you know, he's only had about 20 minutes in the first team. So, and I'm sure he'll play more, but I just wouldn't, like, be considering him to start Real Madrid or Valencia. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very much kind of Jukla vibes. Like he looks comfortable. He's got the Barcelona mold. He could produce something here or there, but not quite ready yet. That's the read I got from Ángel. But to Pablo's point, Pablo Torre is ready. He came out and he was the one bright spark for Barcelona. And he played, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. But immediately came on, was a little spark of life, was moving the ball, was trying to take people on off the dribble. So that's what we needed. We needed some energy and some life. So I'm cool with Pablo Torre getting a little bit more playing time in these next few matches where we need a shot of life.
He's a quality player as well. I think if we've got... So for Valencia, for example, we're not going to have Gavi or Pedri. If he wants to play Pablo Torre in that left side role, I don't think that's a terrible idea. And then if you've got Busquets, De Jong and Kessie behind him, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I think that could work for Torre.
Yeah, I know we're looking a little bit ahead here. We're going to talk about Barcelona and Real Madrid, El Clasico, Copa del Rey. But are you guys worried about that Valencia match in the Liga now? All of a sudden, that one scares me because Valencia's down at the bottom of the table. They see a weakened Barcelona. I'm all of a sudden pretty nervous.
No, but they just got a huge win. I remember they beat the Real
against
1-0.
Yeah,
they beat Real 1-0, and I mean they have no Gattuso, but Valencia. This Valencia is different. This Valencia is like ever since Gattuso took over. I know he's no longer the manager, but they like to, I don't know, stretch the game, make it very hard. And I feel that Barcelona could drop points there. So there's no Gavi, why? And there's no Rafinha, why?
Both got yellows against Almeria, no? Am I right, John?
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. And no Xavi, no?
Yeah, no Xavi. Oh no, wait, hold on. Rafinha is available. Rafinha,
Sorry,
I think that was his fourth.
Why
did
I read that about Rafinha?
Because I think
Valencia.
that was reported at first. I think one of the bigger Barcelona accounts tweeted out. Yeah, I saw that too, but there was a correction. I'm going to hop on and verify.
He's not actually suspended, is he? No.
I think Rafinha is going to still be available. We'll verify. But yeah, Valencia, they're in 18th right now, but they are only a point away from safety. Valladolid, Cadiz, Almeria, and Sevilla up in 14th, all within a match in terms of getting points. Yeah, so Barca Times said Rafinha, Gavi, and Xavi.
Yeah.
But
Rafinha
is that
will
verified?
No, but Barcelona,
Barca Buzz corrected. Rafinha will be available. It was his 4th booking, not his 5th. So
no, and the club, like Barcelona, the club can say it.
Say that again.
Club,
Barca's club said it?
The club, they say like, no, it's a 4th yellow card.
Okay.
It's not a 5.
Okay. That's what I thought. So we're good.
Okay.
So no Gavi, no Xavi.
So how would you play against Real Madrid, for instance, and against Valencia? I would play the same team. I would play the same team.
For
There's
both?
only one team, in my opinion. Yeah, it's Valde.
We can't. Gavi can only play Real, but
yeah, but for me, it would be like Valde, Christensen, Araujo, Koundé. Then you play. We talk about Busquets, but I still will play Busquets. Busquets, Frankie de Jong, Kessie, and Gavi for Real Madrid with Lewandowski and no Lewandowski. Ferran Torres
Lewandowski.
and Rafinha.
Yeah.
And for Valencia, I would play the same thing. But instead of Gavi, I would put maybe Pablo Torre, I would put Ansu Fati.
Or Ansu.
I think Xavi, we're going to go with Roberto.
Oh, Jesus Christ,
yeah, he will. He'll go Roberto. It's so frustrating watching Roberto because it's very obvious that Sergio Roberto knows what to do. He is of the Barcelona mold. He gets the system.
He's just not so good.
He's just not good enough. And every time that he makes the right run, the pass is just in front of him because he doesn't have the same pace that a Pedri, a Gavi, a Frankie de Jong does. So it's a little bit off receiving those passes. Or when
he passes the ball, it's not like smooth. It's just like a little bit too hard, a little bit too soft. It's not
love him to death, but
pinpoint accurate. That's just the problem. I like Roberto as well. Like honestly, I like him. It's just like
right, but
not that good enough.
Yeah,
but that's what I mean. Is it actually bad? Like, look, I think I'm gonna play like devil's advocate. We are like scrutinizing Roberto when he's honestly just a player who is supposed to be that, like a squad player. He's just a player who knows exactly what to do and like fit in when we need him to fit in. It's like right now we're literally down so many players. He's just gonna fit in somewhere. The problem is also that we don't put him like where he needs to be. We say he plays like every position on the field because it's not like he can play every position in the field. He's just like, we're gonna put you there, you know? It's not because he actually plays left wing. It's just because okay, let's just put him there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's turn our attention forward a little bit. Let's chat about the Copa del Rey matchup. Leg 1. Second leg isn't until April 5th, but leg 1 is coming up here March 2nd. Barcelona is limping into this one. How are we feeling about what's going to happen in leg 1? Pablo, let's go to you first, sir.
I think a draw will happen in leg 1, and I think if there's going to be a winner, it'll probably be Real Madrid. Because I think Barcelona entering quite a bad moment. We've just spoken about all the reasons why.
Where is it?
Bernabeu.
This one's at the Bernabeu.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, Real will also probably be wary. They won't want to overcommit and lose the first leg at home, so we could see both teams, settling for a 1-1. And I don't think it would be a terrible result for Barcelona. You'd hope in April, everyone would be back. I mean, by then, other injuries or same injuries could have cropped up again. But look, Barca don't enter it in their best moment. I don't think Real Madrid do either, but I think we've said it. We always say Real Madrid. I don't really think form matters for them. So, not a good moment for Barca, actually.
I forget it. What is that? Like other teams, I see other teams like going not with their strongest lineup or whatnot. Or I go like, hey, Real Madrid entered this El Clásico without Benzema, and they came out with a draw, they came out with a win. Oh, Liverpool played this game with, well, not Liverpool, but whoa, I don't know, Manchester City played this game without Ruben Diaz or with this player, and it's like, oh, they won. It's like, when is the last time that has ever happened in Barcelona? Never.
We at some point in this season got our starting 11, but then there was a distance between the starting 11 and anybody else coming off the bench. Like at the start of the season, everybody was like, awesome, we have 2 players per position and we got the depth that we needed. But then 11 of those players stepped up and 11 dropped off. Or we let them go in the transfer window, this or that. So we don't have the depth that we thought we had at Barcelona. But the other point is that when Real Madrid do rest their players in situations where it's like, all right, it's level or they're down a goal and there's 15 minutes left, now throw on Benzema, now throw on Modric. They produce, they get the goals. When we try to do that, we try to rest our players and then bring them on late if we're not in the position that we want to be in. They don't produce like they would have if they started.
But look, I don't agree on that at all. I don't agree because this is going to be the first fight in the Engine Room podcast.
Let's go, BUGA.
Like, you talk about we have no squad depth, but the depth is like, of course you don't have depth if half your squad is injured. Like, depth is always relative. So I mean, I'm happy if you put a front three of Ferran Torres, Rafinha, and Ansu Fati. You said at the start of the season for our El Clásico. I I trust that front line. I feel they're good enough.
At the start
players.
of the season, yeah,
They're good enough players. The problem is like Ansu Fati is not looking sharp. The problem is Ferran Torres is like whatever psychological problem he has. So that's a problem with it. Or you take a look at midfield. You play, and this is what I was saying. Like, if I'm Man United, the reason why potentially Man United feel they've beaten the best Barca is because when you take a look on paper, Busquets, Frankie, and Kessie, that's on paper. They're good players. They are above average midfielders. Like any player, any team would kind of bite your arm off. I thought Kessie should have gone to Man United and be the Casemiro or the next to Pogba at the time. So they're good players. The thing is now that I feel that Xavi has reached a point where none of those players has been able to ingrain themselves into the team, where they're just so raw when it's their time to perform. I think Kessie is the one who's potentially a little bit further down that road, but other players like Ferran Torres, like Ansu Fati, they've never had the chance to have a few run of games, and I think that's an issue. He doesn't do the substitutions too well.
Yeah. We could stick to Barcelona forever, I think. Let's maybe focus a little bit on Madrid's form going into this, because Pablo, I think you mentioned they've also had their hiccups. They just had a 1-1 draw against Atletico at home, but you go back further one more match, and they had that 5-goal victory over Liverpool at Anfield. Which Real Madrid do you think we're going to get, Pablo? You think we're going to get the 5-goal thumpers, or you think we're going to get a stumbling Real Madrid like we saw against Atletico?
Probably more the sort of Real Madrid we saw against Atletico. Actually, I mean, you never know with Real Madrid. They've had such a weird 2023. They've dropped an awful lot of points in La Liga actually to try and win a title race, and it feels like Barcelona have had. Well, yeah, we have had endless opportunities to go above them, and ultimately, we're 7 points above them now. Could have been 10 yesterday, so they've dropped an awful lot of points. Champions League, of course they lost the Supercopa to Barca quite heavily. They go 2-0 down at Anfield. They've come up to win 5-2. I think all of a sudden they go from a week ago thinking Barca have probably got us in the cup here to thinking, hang on a minute, we really should have Barcelona, and that's really just down to injuries. But because Barca are missing so many players in the midfield and attack, I'd still expect Barca to be solid enough defensively, like a bit like we were, for example, away at Manchester United, where we didn't give them that many chances, and hopefully Barca can be a bit more creative in attack, or Real will leave more spaces. I think they will, because Real don't have a Casemiro, they don't have Lisandro Martinez, who I think are some of the best players in Europe right now. So Barca should have a bit more joy in attack. So like I said, I think it will be a tight first leg and probably a draw. But Real Madrid, out of nowhere, probably come up in the ascendancy now. And of course, we know what they can do. The 5 goals against Liverpool, was harsh, but it was also against a very poor Liverpool team, in my opinion.
Yeah. If Real Madrid score first in this match on Thursday, it's going to be chaos for Barcelona. Yeah. It's going to be bad.
We are terrible at that, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I hate the most, by the way. That Liverpool team are so bad. The one that went 2-0 up, and Real Madrid proved it. They said, no, you guys are useless. And they are. They are so poor. That Liverpool team is one of the only teams that I've seen Graham Potter's Chelsea play well against. They're just so poor. So, like, and Real Madrid completely exposed them. But if Barcelona went 2-0 down to that Liverpool team, full-time score, lads, would have been 4-0.
Oh, yeah.
No questions asked. No questions asked. So we know that.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. All right. So predictions then. Pablo, you said draw
1-1.
in the first
1-1.
leg, 1-1.
1-1.
Okay. Buga, what are you thinking?
4-0.
I think it's gonna be a loss. I think it's gonna be a 2-1 loss, or like a 2-0. I feel that Barcelona, and this is also like by the style of play, I feel that it's never suited to concede first. Like Barcelona don't have that resilience to come back after one, or when they lose 2-0, it's like, okay, guns blazing, long ball, something else. But no, it's like, we want to build from the back. And when you build from the back, it's like super damn fucking slow.
Yeah.
and then they pressure you, and then they score another goal. So yeah.
Okay.
I think Xavi needs another defeat to learn.
Oof. Xavi out from Buga. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you just said that.
No. I feel he's learning on the job. Sometimes you need to get samaquiao, like you say in Spanish.
Yeah. I'm very hesitant to go in favor of Barcelona. I'm going to go 1-0 to Real Madrid in this one, and hopefully it stops there. Hopefully it's not a 2-0, 3-0, because that'll be heartbreaking. All right, Pablo, you started talking about Chelsea a little bit, comparing Liverpool to Graham Potter's Chelsea. Where are we at with Chelsea these days? Let's give the roomies an update.
Well, it's incredible, isn't it? I think we keep coming on every week, but Chelsea keep getting worse. I mean, I think Chelsea are in one of the most bizarre situations in modern day football now. Like everyone's talking about Chelsea. It just gets worse and worse, and I think everyone is wondering when is this team going to win a football match? When are they even going to draw one? How many is it? Is it 2 wins in 16 for Graham Potter? You know, we are talking about form that gets you relegated. No two ways about it. Chelsea, if they keep losing, will just be in a relegation battle. You can't lose every game and just not be in it because you're Chelsea. And we lose every single game. So I don't know what's going on with Potter. And I've made my thoughts pretty clear on Graham Potter from the start. I don't think he's got the charisma. I don't think he's got the ability. And I don't think he hasn't managed at a big enough club to be at Chelsea. And I think Chelsea need a big character. I really do. I think it's one of the most unique jobs in football. Actually, you need someone who has got that charisma, who's got that tactical nous, and who knows what he's doing at the top of football. I really do feel that, and I think we've seen that with Potter. He's got so much PR for him, Potter, and good for Bowley for trying to create a long-term project and not do the whole hire and fire stuff. But Potter, I'm going to let you guys go, and then you can come back to me because I've got a lot more to say.
I'm shocked that Chelsea are still in 10th place. With the way that they are just struggling to just get a point these days, I'm shocked that they're still in 10th place. I think Villa are keen to pass him up. I think Leicester City at any point could find their form and pass him up. Yep. West Ham is much further down the table than they should be. Like, if Chelsea don't turn things around, there's going to be a few more teams somewhere between 11th and 16th that'll start creeping up on them. Like, definitely. Chelsea could end 12th, 13th in the table, something like that. And you just, it doesn't make sense unless Graham Potter is going to be used as some sort of scapegoat at the end of the season. And then you bring in somebody proper and just say, oh, just forget that whole year. Because if you bring in somebody new now, then they're going to carry the stain of this season on them until next year. So Graham Potter, I think, is going to get until the end of the season, no matter how bad it gets.
Yeah, I think so. But it has to get to a point where how bad will Bowley let it get? You've got Leeds on the weekend. You'd imagine that's another defeat for Chelsea. Then you go out the Champions League to Borussia Dortmund. What happens after that? Do they keep backing him? I mean, he's got great PR. I think they've got Enzo Fernandez to do an interview saying trust the management and stuff. The other day, I thought, goodness me, we are living in a propaganda world, aren't we? And after every game, they come out and the players keep saying that, stick together and stuff. But surely the players must be doubting Potter so much now, by the way. like inside their head, they must not trust him. They must know, like, oh dear, this guy is struggling a lot. And it's a weird one because I try and think back to Potter's time at Brighton, or on the day Chelsea hired him, for example, how highly he was thought of in the Premier League as kind of the best young English coach to come on and change something in English football. But I'm sorry, you know, this is looking so poor. I am torn as to whether Chelsea stick with like a long-term project and whether it comes good eventually. But the more I think about it, the more this bloke just lacks the charisma for me. I've never been keen of him. I'm not keen of managers like this, full stop, actually. I listen to his press conferences and I just turn it off. I can't stand it. I don't like the way he speaks at all. He reeks of mediocrity to me, and at Chelsea there's no place for it for me as the way I want the club to be. It puts a stain on it, and I've had enough a long time ago, but I think almost everyone in football can see it now that this bloke isn't right for it. But I could look like a stupid man in 2 years' time if he does like an Arteta, so you never know. But I wonder, I said that last week, I wonder how high the ceiling is.
Yeah, this is a weird analogy, but it's almost like if Chelsea were a human and they were going for elective plastic surgeries to have like a full remodel, like nose job, doing a chin, I'm talking like every plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery you could have, right? And halfway through the surgeries, all of a sudden the heart monitor goes beep. But the surgeon's just like, yeah, but we're doing these surgeries. Don't worry about the heartbeat. Don't worry about that. This body's just going to be lifeless in a minute. We got surgeries planned. We got a beautiful project that we're working on here, right? I know that's a stretch for a football analogy, but it's like they're not recognizing the reality of the direness of the situation, where like you're 10th right now and falling.
Yeah, and 10th is the best we could be right now. Like you say, Chelsea are going to drop more. Like. Inevitably, if you lose every game.
I keep going back to what John said last pod about the theory of like Potter just being the scapegoat. I still feel something inside that management, like they cannot be this stupid. Like I feel when they underestimate businessmen. Like if you can make like I don't know how much money, you gotta be smart somehow.
I don't know. I think we talked about this offline at some point. I've heard some successful podcaster who like made money in a number of different areas talk about how you'll find stupid all the way up, like all the way up to the most successful people in the world. You'll find some dumb ones, and that rang true to me because I've walked a few different paths in this world. I haven't had all the experiences, but like I've seen some stupid. Some successful stupid. I've seen it.
I know. Maybe we just don't. Maybe they are so stupid. They're in a different frequency. They seem smart. Probably.
Yeah. Selective intelligence.
Exactly.
I just another point. You're gonna laugh. I can't help thinking about Thomas Tuchel and all of this.
I was wondering if we were to get through a pod without a love letter to Tuchel. Go ahead.
I just think Chelsea missed like the biggest opportunity now to have the sort of like the Pep Guardiola, the Jurgen Klopp. Even when I think to replacements now for Potter, even I'm thinking like a Hansi Flick or Luis Enrique, or if Nagelsmann gets sacked from Bayern, whatever, none of it reaches Tuchel levels to me. And I don't know, it just hurts. I just feel like Chelsea lost out on like the best one. Really, they let go of number one,
the one that got away. Thomas Tuchel. All right, boys, let's close things out by talking about the FIFA's Best Awards. Excuse me, FIFA's The Best Awards. It's just a stupid name, but full of Argentina this time around. I would say rightfully so. Goalkeeper, Martinez. Best player, Lionel Messi. Best manager, Scolani. Any arguments? Would you guys have changed anything? For best goalkeeper, best player, best manager.
Do we know what time scale the best is done
on? Whether it's like calendar year.
I think it's supposed to be like this. No, sorry. The Ballon d'Or was calendar year, and now they changed it. It changed to season. Be just the season.
Yeah, the best is 2022.
Yeah, I think it's year.
Right, that would make sense.
Which is dumb. But it's still dumb. Like, just make it the season.
Just make it the season. Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't make any
exactly.
sense.
It's a bit confusing.
Make it the European season. I know that like over on different parts of the world, there's different seasons. Like MLS doesn't do the same season as Europe, but we can just
The
go
day
by
an
the
MLS
European
player
calendar.
wins one of these awards, I'm gonna.
Brandon Vasquez, number 19 for FC Cincinnati. Mark it down right now.
No. Okay.
I love when Buga shuts down my ridiculousness just with one word. Just no.
No. I think the Messi one is clear. Like,
Sure.
of course, Messi has to win it. I think he's going to win the Ballon d'Or. I think he's the best. He demonstrated to be the best player with only 10 games. He played the group stage and then just 10 games. It's like what he needs to do. Those 10. Messi kind of restructures his entire career just for 7 games. And it worked.
Yeah.
That's all he needed to do. Because that's the only thing he needed to win. And he did it.
It's true, actually.
That's
yeah.
why he's the
He did.
best player in the world.
Yeah.
Like, he went to PSG, everything just for 7 games. And he did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think 2022 Lionel Messi was the best footballer from January to December?
Yes.
Okay.
That
If we're
Messi.
factoring in club football,
Yeah, we have to now.
Dude, that Messi who played
Listen.
against Croatia in the semifinal.
I know. Listen, you give it to Messi, right? I'm not saying that Messi shouldn't have gotten it,
Yeah.
right? Just because I think everybody's weighing in more than the full season in and of itself. It's Messi's legacy. It's those 7 games are like what everybody's focused on. But he didn't have the best season for PSG in 2022.
No.
He really didn't.
He was crap.
No.
Yeah. So
Well, that's a question then. But I think this is why they do the awards on who does the Champions League and who does the World Cup and who wins the biggest tournament of the year, because obviously it's so hard to judge who's been the best of the 60 football matches.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't feel like when I'm talking about the best. Remember when we talked about this a few pods ago? Also, I said like I think the best is literally the best. The best I've seen a footballer play was not Benzema in those Champions League run, which he was amazing, but it was Messi in that World Cup. I think he was the best, like of what I've seen this year.
Yeah,
I go for that. I go for stuff like that, and that's why for me it's a valid award.
yeah. Pablo, you said something interesting before we started about saying, they had the choice between going Argentina or Real Madrid, and they went Argentina. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, well, I think the best goalkeeper in 2022 was Thibaut Courtois. No? I think that's hard to argue with. I think in 2022, Thibaut Courtois was a better goalkeeper than Emiliano Martinez, in my opinion. But of course, Emiliano Martinez won the World Cup and did so, by saving some huge penalties in multiple penalty shootouts. So he's going to win the award. We know that's how it's done. Ancelotti's got a big shout now, winning La Liga, winning the Champions League, unbelievable with Real Madrid. Scaloni wins it for doing a great job with Argentina. So it often goes like this. And if this wasn't a World Cup year, I think we would have seen a clean sweep for Real Madrid. Because it was World Cup year, it goes to the World Cup, and that's the way it always is with these awards. I think I would love if it was done on a full season, but it isn't. We even saw Bono, I think, was the third goalkeeper now because of what he did with Morocco. Like, Bono's a great goalkeeper. We watch La Liga. Bono's he's a good keeper for Sevilla, but he's not been top 3 in 2022, but because he did well with Morocco, he goes there. So that's the way it's done.
Yeah, I get why the World Cup is being weighted so heavily, but it really is like there's a thing called recency bias. You guys know what that means?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's basically like if you were to compare 5 of anything, ice cream flavors, performances on the pitch, whatever it is, right? If you're comparing 5 things, it's like the one that you see last that was impressive, that's the one that seems to stick out the most.
Yeah.
So I think there's a bit of recency bias. And the other one I'll say is that it is FIFA's the best award. And so it's their opportunity to promote their tournament.
Fair play.
Again.
That's a very good point. Yeah, very
You know
good
what I mean?
point. Yeah, it's not UEFA. Yeah, very true. It's that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, why it's full Argentina.
Yeah. All right, boys. Anything else on your minds, football-wise?
Well,
Or not football-wise. I don't know. Maybe Buga has a twisted take about movies again. I don't know.
Other than Thomas Tuchel, there's nothing on my mind.
No. I just wanna shout out the Bundesliga. I think the
Shout out the
Bundesliga.
Bundesliga. Yeah,
the Bundesliga has been doing pretty good. I wish maybe we should start talking about it if there's a team that surpasses Bayern, because it's always like you don't want to talk about it because Bayern always end up winning. But Dortmund, Union Berlin are getting close. Are getting close on Bayern.
Yeah, but this weekend was a brilliant example, BUGA, of why we don't talk about the Bundesliga. We had this big game, Bayern, Union Berlin. Can Union Berlin do it? 3-0, was it not? 3-0. Goodbye, title race. What a brilliant title race that was, lads. Pack your bags. We go again in August.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's
he's
the
not
problem.
wrong. He's not wrong.
Yeah, that's
all
the
right.
problem.
Well, there is plenty of good football that we will be talking about on next week's episode and more. So make sure you stay tuned in. Make sure you're subscribed, whether you're listening on Spotify, YouTube. Come back and hang out with us again next week. Boys, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening, roomies.
Peace.
Take care. Bye-bye.